Hey, it's Julie Kaylin, your favorite happiness and relationship coach, voiceover artist, actress, and songstress, singer-songwriter. And I'm here today to talk about ghosting, all about ghosting. This video, I think is a really fun and interesting topic, but some of you guys might get really triggered by this video. Possibly some might even get angry about it. Just fair warning that this video is about tough love, and I'm going to talk in this video all about, I guess, what ghosting is ghosting good or bad, and what to do if you've been ghosted. And some of my thoughts on this, I think, are a lot different than other, relationship coaches. But again, definitely not trying to hurt or anger anyone, but give them some tough love and yeah, just my thoughts and opinions on it because I do think some of this might be able to help a lot of people out there. So first off, let's start by what is ghosting? And I guess part of the problem discussing it is so many people have so many different ideas of what ghosting is. Like you ask what one person is ghosting, and they'll tell you something completely different. But I guess just in a nutshell, ghosting is often when one person cuts contact with another without warning. And, this could be most often it's refers to in dating or romantic relationships, but you could, like, ghost anybody like, a friend, a relative, a coworker, like a business client. Those could all you could ghost basically anybody, but, oftentimes it's, part of, modern day dating in a lot of ways. You hear about ghosting all the time, and probably I would guess most everyone watching this video has, either ghosted someone or been ghosted. It's not too uncommon of a thing nowadays. But it's interesting because some people will say, ghosting applies to just people that you've dating for, a few weeks, a few months, a few years. Other people will say, "Oh, you don't even have to meet someone in person to ghost them." So there's just a lot of like gray areas, which makes the conversation that much more confusing and interesting. So I guess one thing to remember too is that what one person considers ghosting, another person might not. But I guess just for the purpose of this discussion, we'll just say it's kind of cutting off contact with one person without any warning, cutting off all communication. Even though, again, without warning could be a gray area because, oftentimes there are other signs that someone might be close to cutting you out of their life, even if you choose not to, see or recognize those signs, or even if they're not like verbalized out loud. But that's basically what, ghosting is in a quick nutshell, even though there is not one, agreed upon definition or one agreed upon meaning. Because you ask what one person it is, they'll say, "Oh, this isn't it," and other person will say, "Well, yeah, it is." But just wanted to bring that up real quick before we get into more in-depth discussion on ghosting. And this video might be, it's because it's kind of like I said, it's kind of a fun, interesting topic to talk about because it is so common nowadays. This might be a little bit longer video than some of my other ones. So get comfy, put your feet up here, and join me for a bit while we talk about this. And yeah, this is just the beginning of the discussion too. I would love to hear everyone's thoughts in the comments section after they watch this entire video as well, because I could talk about this for a long time, actually. Next, is it good or bad to ghost or be ghosted? Well, I would argue, there are some really good reasons to ghost someone. And a lot of, dating or relationship coaches or like other YouTube videos will just like tell you black and white, like, oh, you don't want to be with someone that ghosts you, or people that ghost other people are like evil and they can't communicate. And, you don't want to ghost her anyways. But like I said, probably if you're being honest, anyone watching this video has ghosted someone else. And I think there are good reasons to ghost some people, which I will get into right now. And I've ghosted people, and yeah, I don't think I'm an evil person. I don't think I have problems communicating. And, overall, I think I'm a pretty nice and loving human being, and very caring about people. But that being said, I do think there are often good reasons to ghost somebody. And I don't apologize for that. So, here are some good reasons why I have or I would personally ghost somebody. So, like, a big one is just lying, someone lying to me, good reason to ghost right there. Um, Someone in my life who's being inconsistent or unreliable, another good reason to ghost right on out of there. Someone who's undependable, someone whose actions don't match their words, someone who you have the sense is just playing games with you or attempting to play games with you and your feelings or your heart or your soul. Another good reason to ghost on out of there. Someone who's just being an outright jerk or mean or inappropriate comments. No, not much discussion needed there. Just ghost on out of there. Or someone that's always negative. You've probably had some people in your life who are just like, "Oh, I can't take it anymore." Always negative. That's a reason why I'd ghost. Um, how about those people in your life that, and you know who they are. They only contact you when they need something from you or when they feel lonely. But when you might have a time of need, or you feel like you want to talk, they're never around. It's just kind of like a one way street. Another reason you might want to consider ghosting. Um, how about, and for me, a big reason I will ghost is people who are not providing value in my life, or not enhancing my life. And again, this is very subjective because what I might consider value in my life, another person might not consider that value, or or vice versa. So value is very subjective, and according to each individual person and what they're looking for out of a relationship or whatnot. So, but that's a good reason why I'll ghost, because anyone in my life, whether it's a client, a friend, a family member, a relationship, romantic relationship, or someone I'm dating, whether I've just been dating them for a week or whether I've been dating them for many years, you want it to enhance your life and provide value, or else, there's no reason to stay or keep communicating with that person any longer. So that's another good reason, I think, to ghost. Um, what else? You know, um, for me, needy people, because you get the sense when someone is needy or someone is using you to fill their cup when they should be filling it themselves. And that, keeping someone like that in my life personally, it's a big drain on my energy, because they should be filling their own cup instead of using me to fill it for them. So I'm very sensitive to that as a very intuitive, empathetic person, that often, feels other people's feelings and intentions and can sense that and can pick up on that. It's very, very draining on me, and not a situation that I particularly want to be in. So that's another reason why I would leave the situation. What else? And sometimes it could be just, like I said, I mentioned, kind of just intuition or just a feeling, that's another reason why I might consider ghosting somebody. And again, these are all this list of things I'm giving. I'm not saying 100%, you'd ghost somebody whenever someone's doing this, but of course the decision is up to you to ghost or not to ghost. But These are strong reasons you might want to consider it. And some people might say, well, if someone is doing these things and you've been in a relationship with them for whatever length of time or whatever, why wouldn't you want to communicate with them about this and tell them your feelings? And sometimes it depends on the situation. Like sometimes I might bring it up once or something. But too, if a person's doing any of these things, that's a risk that they are taking that any reasonable person might want to ghost right on out of there. And two, the old adage, I think, that if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all, I think is very appropriate in situations like this. Because oftentimes, rather than me saying, "Oh, hey, you're a liar," it's like, "Well, or you're being mean." Like, it's like, what's the point? This If this person's an adult, they should they should know how to behave like one. And if they're not going to behave nicely or appropriately or dependably or add value in someone's life, that's a risk they take. Without me having to communicate that with someone, and it's a reason for me to just kind of, check on out of there. Um, and what else? Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, there doesn't have to be a discussion, an argument, a fight, before I'm gone, and especially through text, because texting is not a place you want to get into fights or discussions like that. And oftentimes, if it's come to a point in a relationship where someone else is doing these list of naughty things on my ghost list here, I don't wanna particularly give them a call or see them in person anyway to discuss this, so it's like, what's to discuss? I'm kinda just gone. And for me personally, like, the times in my life where I have sent a mean text or an argumentative text or even a hurt text lots of times to someone else were the times in my life that I felt the worst about myself and the worst about that relationship. But looking back on it, the times, and those were the times that I felt really sorry, or I was like, oh, I shouldn't have sent that text, I wish I wouldn't have done that at all. I wish I would have just left and just ghosted without going there. Um, so those are the times in my life when I felt bad rather than ghosting. So yeah, I mean, I in these situations, and I'm not saying it's an exhaustive list at all. There could be lots of other reasons, good reasons to ghost somebody. Put that in the list if you could think of it. In the comments below. I'm not saying that's an exhaustive list, but this is kind of my list off the top of my head that I could think of that are good reasons to ghost somebody, kind of without any further discussion if you feel the need for it. Yeah, because like I said, I would personally feel better, and I have felt better. No apologies, no nothing to feel sorry about ghosting someone. Um, but with that being said, there's good reasons to ghost somebody. Some people will ghost other people. I'll put a list of maybe like bad reasons to ghost someone, because not all, in my opinion, our reasons are good to ghost. But someone could ghost someone else because, they're just narcissistic or game players, or they're trying to get some sort of reaction from you, maybe testing you, seeing how you're going to react to that, trying to do like a power play or gain the upper hand in a relationship, control, playing with someone's emotions. um, and in these situations, like someone who has been ghosted by these people, and maybe someone who's not very experienced in relationships, or someone who has low self-esteem or low self-worth, they might feel really bad about these people ghosting them, and they might um, you know get the other person might gain the upper hand in the relationship because of that. But, like a smart woman like me, with relationship experience, or, any smart person that's been ghosted by one of these people is gonna, see right through those tricks and those games or that narcissism, and they'll just kinda say, "Oh, thank goodness they're gone, because I saw right through that trick." And, anyone high in self-worth or self-esteem, with some relationship experience is gonna see right through those games and be like, you know, thank goodness you're gone, kind of thing. So, yeah, so those are, oh, another one other reason I thought of why someone might ghost someone is, um, and I don't even know whether to put this on the good or bad list, honestly. Might be some of both, but sometimes people might ghost you because they have nothing to give you or nothing to provide you. And um, maybe they're undergoing hard times in their life, or maybe, like I said, they're not capable at this point in their life, for whatever reason, of filling their own cup. And so when they can't fill their own cup, they're not capable of, giving you any love or support, or whatever it is of value that you are looking for. Um, so they're not going to be able to do that. And in some ways that's a good reason for them to ghost too, just because, they just so they have nothing to give you at that time, and you can't really force someone to give you something that they're not capable of even giving themselves, honestly. So it's definitely good for them to, take a step back and leave the relationship, either temporarily or permanently, or whatever, when they ghost. And that's another thing about ghosting too. Like, I don't know if you've heard the term, zombieing, or something, like, someone will ghost for a while, but then, it could be months or even years later when that person rises from the dead like a zombie, and is again like texting you or calling you, or whatever, or trying to meet up, and you're like, "Oh, what the heck?" But but that's not too uncommon either. So I wanted to bring that up. It's kind of like, there's the temporary ghosting, like the zombieing, or there's the permanent ghosting, where you might never hear from them again, or you might ghost someone and honestly never want to have contact with them again, or at least not want to have contact with them for a very long time. Okay, so I've talked a little bit about what ghosting is, good reasons and bad reasons to ghost somebody. I also wanted to bring up a few pointers for if you've been ghosted, like how to react and what to do about that. So, let's see, in my notes here, I thought of a few. So, if you've been ghosted, one thing to do is, like, don't panic. I mean, don't go crazy, because there's no reason to panic or go crazy. I'll put a link to my video that I did on soulmates, because there are lots of amazing people in this world for you to meet. So if you lose one, there are constantly going to be others popping into your life. So if you get ghosted by one, sometimes it could feel a little sad for a little bit. And again, I'm not saying you can't feel a little bit sad if someone ghosts you, or angry at times even, but just don't like sit in that place for too long, because like I said, there could be some very good reasons for you being ghosted. And so just take a step back, calm down, don't do anything crazy or rash, or don't beg for a response or whatever. Don't act desperate, because I'm sure you are not desperate. I'm sure you're a lovely, amazing person. But with that being said, too, the best thing to do when someone ghosts you is to give them space. Because if I ghost someone, that's definitely a loud cry that I need my space right now. I don't want to talk with you, at least for several weeks, maybe several months, depending on the infraction that caused the ghosting and the severity of it, and possibly not even talking to that person again permanently. But with that being said too, people change all the time. So if you've been ghosted, one thing to think about is that list of things that I gave, good reasons to ghost. Like, did you do any of those things on your list? Like, were you a horribly mean person, like in the last few weeks or whatever, or a few days of knowing that person? Like, could you think of a reason that they ghosted? And, think back on that, because there have been times when someone has ghosted me and it's like, oh, I totally understand. Yeah, I was being a horrible person back then. I said horrible things. I sent those horrible texts. Yeah, I get it. But other times you might be ghosted, and you look back on that list and you're like, hey, I didn't do anything on that good reasons to ghost list. And I realized that it was just that person, they were in a rough spot and didn't have anything to give. And that's not my issue. That's their stuff that they have to work on. So, don't overanalyze it. Don't overthink it, because you could drive yourself crazy doing that if you've been ghosted. But, do a little bit of self-reflection there and think about it, because too, that could influence your further communications with that person, if you're going to try and get in touch with them again after you have given them a good amount of space. Or yeah, so that definitely changes the approach there. um but people, like I said, people do change. So sometimes too, even if someone has done something on that list of reasons to ghost somebody, um and, possibly after you go someone, they could come back weeks or months, or like I said, sometimes for me, like people will come back into my life years afterwards, and tell me they've changed. And it's good to at least hear them out. I'd probably always at least listen to it, because I do think, even if people make those mistakes on that reasons to ghost list, that I'm still an optimist, and I've seen people change for the better all the time. So just keep an open mind about it, even if you do decide to ghost someone, but then weeks, months, or years later they want to communicate with you. I'd say, most of the time, it might be a good idea to hear them out. But I would say too, if you've been ghosted, and it was for some of the reasons on that naughty list of things that I think deserve ghosting for, and you want to communicate again with the person who ghosted you after some time, make that text or that phone call really good, because because if I ghost someone, uh, that next communication that I have from whoever I ghosted, it better be really, really, really good. Because ghosting still is not something that I do lightly. It is a last resort. Um, so don't make it a hey, text, or a how are you text. It's like, yeah, that's not gonna break me out of ghosting mode. Make it real good. If it's something you did wrong, make it a sincere "I'm sorry." Make it some substance. Ideally in a phone call, but if it's gonna be a text, make it real good. Make it real good. That's the only way it's gonna break me out of Casper mode there from ghosting. Um, what else? If you've been ghosted too, it's good to go with the flow and detach from the outcome and that one person. Again, like I said, fill your own cup. um Realize that being ghosted by someone is not the end of the world. You are still in charge of your own happiness, and making sure that your own cup is filled. And again, I'll put the link to my video on soulmates, and maybe a couple of my other YouTube videos in the description box, because there are tons of other people that you can meet and have connections with, and love, and all that other good stuff. Um, let's see. Oh, and another thing that I want to say about this that I think is important. So just remember that a text or a phone call or any communication from someone is not a right that you have. It's not something you are entitled to. So think of any communication from someone, whether it's a phone call, a text, whether you're seeing them in person or whatever it is, think of it more as a gift from them. This is totally going to change your outlook on the whole situation. And so, so if I'm ghosted by someone too, or someone doesn't want to respond to my text or doesn't want to talk to me for a while, I could react to that in two ways. I could like cry about it or get really angry and kind of act spoiled and whiny that, oh, they didn't respond to me. Oh, they're horrible people, I could really be a baby about it and an entitled brat about it. But I'm not going to be, because I realize that the gift of someone else's time is just that. It's a gift. And maybe that person is not in the mood to give me a gift at that moment. They're not in a place, like I said, in their life where they could that they're healthy themselves so that they could give healthy gifts to healthy gifts of their own time or attention to other people in their lives. And that's okay. So it's okay that that person isn't giving me a gift of their time or their texts or their phone calls. That's perfectly okay. And I will be more than okay either way, whether they do or they do not. So think of it like that. You're not entitled, even if you're in a relationship with someone for a long time, think of it as a gift. You're not entitled to anything from that. And yeah, I mean, gosh, I get so many texts and phone calls from people, and I would love to, especially like having, as my YouTube channel grows and as just so many followers and fans on social media. Like, I'm so blessed, and I do want to get back to everybody. Seriously, I do, but realize too, time is valuable, and I just get so many texts and emails and phone calls that I can't possibly respond to them all, and I'm seriously like months or years behind in getting back to messages. And I know I want to get back to everybody, but it's just like you gotta be, and hopefully eventually I will, but you gotta be selective about your time and who you communicate with, and yeah, things like that. And remember too that if you have been ghosted, work on filling your own cup first, like I said. And when that happens and you're overflowing with love and happiness, the law of attraction is always at play here. So you are going to keep attracting other people into your life that have their own cups filled as well. And these other people, these other glorious, marvelous souls and beings that are filling their own cups and have a lot of things to share with you as well, and a lot of overflowing love to give, and people that are going to be in the right place in their lives, in a healthy place where they can give you those gifts of that communication that you want from them. So remember that. That's really important. And yeah, I've been talking for a while here. Like I said, I could talk forever about this, but this video is oh my gosh, like approaching a half hour already. So I better stop here and let you guys take over a bit, and share with me in the comments, please, what you think about all this. And I would love to hear what you think, whether you agree, whether you disagree, some reasons you ghost people or don't ghost people. This is just a good discussion, I think. Some more tough love and some more common sense for relationships and ghosting and self-love and self-happiness and everything else. So yeah, and if you're having any difficulty in your life with handling being ghosted or anything you want to talk with me about and work with me one-on-one, I would love to hear from you. You could comment in the comments again, or email me personally at julie@juliekaylin.com, and I would love to hear from you. Also, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. And if you enjoy this video, please like it and share and comment. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from you all. And until the next video, I am wishing you much happiness and joy and happy and healthy relationships. All right, take care. Bye.